Well, back now to the developing manhunt for an ex-LAPD officer turned triple murder suspect. Christopher Dorner is considered armed and extremely dangerous, and so far has managed to evade police at every turn. They don't know where he is, and yet he is still threatening to unleash serious harm on any number of individuals. Joining us now, Dr. Lipman. He's a criminal psychologist, and he is the executive director of the Center for the Study of Violence. He has an interesting theory on how Mr. Dorner's success at being on the run may be influencing his thinking. Doctor, great to see you again. I know you've been studying this case, and you believe that Chris Dorner may be having feelings now of grandiosity, and that may be even more dangerous than what we've seen thus far. Can you explain?
Sure, but let's start with the facts so people have a context. First of all, we know from the search warrant affidavit issued last week that there's a belief on the part of LAPD that he was on the way to Nevada, perhaps on the way over the border into Mexico. Secondly, there was this telephone call traced to Vancouver where someone identifying themselves as Dorner called the father of the woman who was murdered, Monica Kwan, and in a way that is very narcissistic, that's very grandiose, like Dorner, taunted him, saying, "You didn't protect your daughter so well, did you?" Now, we don't know whether this was Dorner or not, but it suggests multiple possibilities of where he might be. Now, to get to your question, if we look at the manifesto that he wrote, it had two important elements. On the one hand, it was grandiose, enraged, narcissistic, and we know that this was a guy who has had episodes of explosive rage, just like a narcissist. In high school, he was kicked out of high school for fighting. On the football team, he was kicked off the football team for fighting. And when we watched more of that video that you just showed, that is a man who is enjoying his violence with grandiosity. So this is clearly someone who is a narcissist and filled with anger. He was originally somewhat suicidal. We could see it in the note. But each day that he is able to evade his captors, each day that he feels as if he's pulling one over, and we can see this in the Vancouver call, if indeed that was him, he feels stronger, he feels more and more grandiose, more powerful, and more able to evade the police. So this is someone who may be coming, in fact, well, he's not psychotic like a Jared Loughner, more and more grandiose, more and more filled with his own sense of power and vengeance, and this is a man who is armed. Now...
But wait, let me jump in, because it's interesting to hear you talk about his history.
Before you do, Megan,
yeah.
There's two ways that I think we can get this guy, and let me get to that first, and then tell me what you think about
let me just jump in. I want to get to that in a minute. I want to get to that in a minute, because I want to understand him before we get to Manhunt and how to get him.
Fair enough.
You talk about his history and, you know, fighting and so on, and I mean that's a police training video, so I don't know whether it shows us who he is. But I do want to ask you this: how does somebody who, you know, has this history? He served our country in the Navy. He fought in Iraq. He joins the police force. He gets kicked out of the police force because they said he filed a false complaint against a fellow officer about officer brutality, which was not well-founded, the police concluded. That he turn it from disgruntled, kind of ticked off, you know, fired cop into mass killer?
Oh, I don't think that is beyond the scope of our understanding at all. Look, we know that rage, violence, animosity, anger, murderous rage can be turned either to, let's call it, the uses of society, police and battle, or if the flame is touched to the fire of narcissism, we can see that person explode. We see it in other episodes before. This is someone who throughout his life, Megyn, from childhood, has shown that when his self was insulted, when he felt that he was insulted in high school, he exploded so much that they had to throw him out. When he was insulted on the football team, he exploded, so they had to throw him out. In his manifesto, he shows over and over again, he goes back to incidents from childhood that he is still so angry about at being slighted. This is the classic narcissist. And that training video, I've watched hundreds of training videos, and I will tell you that while it was a training video, and I'm sure that he was viewed in that context as doing a good job, That is someone who is so enthused about the act of violence that the line between fighting injustice and wanting to act with enthusiasm, enthusiastic rage, is a fine line. And when he feels that he's been wronged, he's going to explode.
I've got about a minute left. I do want to get to your thoughts on how we get him.
I think there's two ways that are most likely to get this guy. Number one, this is someone who, as we see in his manifesto, you could read it online, this is someone who wants to confront his accusers. He feels that he's been wronged, and he wants to stand before them and prove that he's right. So he may show himself, and that Vancouver call may be an indication of this. Secondly, he knows that there's a manhunt out for him and that it's huge. So he is looking over his shoulder, wondering if the next person is the person who's going to capture him or ID him. And that is classically the kind of thing that may cause him to make the critical mistake, and that's the mistake that we're looking for.
Well, let's hope you're right. And it'll be interesting to see if his mother can be useful in any way. Dr. Lipman, always great getting your thoughts. Thank you so much, sir.
Good to see you, Megyn.
Likewise.